My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for High Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at High Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. High Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
Two rounds remaining. Two championship contenders, both fighting for championship glory. But this weekend at Queensland Raceway, the defending Australasian Supersport champion returns to throw a cat amongst the pigeons. It's the business end of the Australasian Supersport Championship for 2016 and everything is at stake. Welcome to Queensland Raceway for this fifth round of the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship. On today's program we feature the ever-popular Supersports and the Cyclesport Thornley stars of tomorrow. Phil Harlan, the Supersports, the action is certainly thick and fast.
Yeah, Kyle Buckley, the man on your screen there, is tied on championship points lands with Mitch Levy coming into this round. 3 races here to decide who will go to Sydney Motorsport Park with an all-important championship lead.
As it's been the case in previous seasons, the title fight for the Australasian Supersport Championship in 2016 has been a closely fought affair. Heading into the penultimate round, Kyle Buckley and Mitch Levy are sitting equal first on points and neither are willing to relent on their pursuit for the top prize. For Buckley, it's a chance to put on a strong showing at his home track, and with conditions expected to be hot, he's confident that the Kawasaki will suit the conditions well.
So far it's been good. Yesterday in qualifying we put in a good time and got it on the front, so just hoping that conditions stay the same. Seems like our bike's pretty good in the heat, so yeah, looking forward to it. 3 races today and see what we can do. In the heat, everything's looser, there's not as much grip, so it's just loose. So I think if we can just run the same sort of style as I have most of the time, we should be sweet. A few of the ASBK boys are rocked up this weekend, so I think we're going to have a full front 5, it'll be good, so we battle on.
Mitch Levy, Buckley's arch rival, has been the dominant force in the last couple of rounds. As Yamaha's leading light, he heads into Queensland extremely confident he can keep the winning feeling going.
Yeah, the only way to really separate the points this round is just going to be to take all the wins. It's going to be a tough slog, but hopefully we can get it done. There's always room for improvement, and we've been working all night to get the bike a little bit better for today, and I think the boys have done that. So yeah, I think we can pull that half second in and hopefully push for the win. Yeah, definitely. And he took it out of mine in the first round at Eastern Creek, and I got it back in his home track last time we're up here. So hopefully I can just do it again and push forward.
This Queensland Raceway layout, 3.12 kilometres, 6 turns, 2 of them are left-handers, 4 obviously will be right-handers. It looks simple, but it is certainly a complex challenge for any rider, especially somebody making his debut in this year's championship, the defending champion Callum Spriggs, as he heads down the Swann Insurance main straight into shock treatment turn 1 at speeds of around about 240 kilometres an hour in 4th gear, maintaining speed to about 150 kilometres an hour through turn number 2, Dunlop Road Smart turn 3, for the run down the Icone Oils back straight, reaching speeds of around 250 kilometres an hour. Breaking point about 200 metres before turn 3, Sydney Motorsport Park ride days, maintaining good throttle control and going right to the outside of the circuit near the crossover up into 4th and 5th gear to a speed of around 220 kilometres an hour at the end of the Kawasaki Motor Finances straight, heading into hip pocket workwear and safety trying to be as smooth as they possibly can at about 140, 150 kilometres an hour. Exit speed there in turn 5 for the run, up into 4th and 5th gear. Big braking at the end of the Kawasaki motorcycle straight, heading into the final 6th and final turn, of course being Shark Leather's turn number 6. Back onto the throttle again for the run down the main straight, the Swann Insurance main straight.
Well, it was all about the qualifying effort here, and great to see Chris Quinn back in the championship, Lance. He qualified on 3rd position, importantly a front row of the grid position, and great to see him back in the championship.
But Callum Spriggs, of course, making a comeback after a season away from the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship, piloted himself up onto the front row as well.
Well, the man that's battling for the championship with Kyle Buckley takes the honours, the point for pole position as well, which is very important at this stage of the season, and also will start from the front row of the grid. So as they came into this round, they were tied on points, as we said. Mitch Levy takes that 1 point advantage, courtesy of pole position.
So 304 versus 303, little less than the proverbial breath between the front two runners. As riders make their way to the circuit for the second of 3 9-lap encounters, let's have a look at the highlights of race number 1. And Phil, it was fairly convoluted at the start.
Yeah, it was a very, very eventful start to the race because, as you can see, the riders pulled up to the grids. Bike number 66, young Hayden Spinks, had a problem with his Kawasaki ZX6 and looked like it was a throttle connection or the bike wouldn't start. They tried to get the bike started and eventually he was pushed off the grid to not start this race. But the bikes had been sitting there for a little while, Lance. A lot of the riders had actually turned their motorcycles off, went to start them again, and unfortunately for our championship leader, Mitch Levy, as you can see, hands are in the air, the battery is fried and he can't start the motorcycle.
Yes, certainly disappointing for Mitch Levy. He's gesticulating across to the pits. His mechanic came over to see if he could rectify any of the problems that occurred with that bike. Unfortunately, the answer was no, and as you'll see very shortly, he was pushed off to the internal section of the circuit and would take no further part in this one. Massive championship implications.
As I said, they came into here even on points. Mitch Levy went 1 point ahead with pole position. Kyle Buckley, who hasn't had the best of weekends, starts from row number 2, but a great chance to take a bit of a championship lead in the lead up to the run down to the final round.
After a lengthy delay to the start, it was all Chris Quinn who got the whole shot there ahead of a hard-charging Callum Spriggs, and Jordan Carlson trying very hard in the early stages, especially down the Iphone Oils back straight, heading into Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days Turn 3. Yeah,
Jordan Carlson has looked very, very impressive all weekend, and the start of race number 1 was certainly no exception. You can see he was very loose and late on the brakes down in towards Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days corner and was very determined early. So was this man, Callum Spriggs, as he pops up from behind the screen and heads into the 2 left-handers in the middle of the circuit, a circuit that he knows very well, and it wasn't long until he was right onto the back of the Holmes Extractive Resources R6 of Chris Quinn.
These two battled it out for quite a while and opened up a handy lead over the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th placing. As you can see, Spriggs outbroke Quinn there at the end of the Iphone Oils back straight with a 3-rider, Sam Muldoon, Jordan Carlson and Keith Feely battling it out for the minor placings.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Chris Quinn had a problem with the 82 machine at about lap 5 in the race, and that was him. That was the end of his race, and importantly, that moved Kyle Buckley and Sam Muldoon into a position to have a great battle. Sam Muldoon on bike number 70 returning from injury, and Kyle Buckley coming back from a difficult weekend where he absolutely destroyed the motorcycle in yesterday's program.
Yes, had an unfortunate accident, did Buckley, but the SA Kawasaki BC Performance team, as they normally do, rose to the occasion and got this Kawasaki ZX6R firing on all cylinders, and he was certainly piloting it in fine style. Unlike this man, unfortunately for Mitch Levy, he could do nothing more than sit back and watch.
Yeah, and probably cheer Callum Spriggs on, and that's exactly what Callum Spriggs did for him. He took the race win for his fellow Yamaha rider, Mitch Levy. A great win, in fact, but Kyle Buckley finished in 2nd place and took 22 championship points, 22 very important championship points.
So we're set now for race number 2. Riders making their way out onto the circuit. As you can see there on board with Callum Spriggs, he will occupy pole position because of his race victory in the first encounter. Kyle Buckley, Sam Muldoon and the hard-charging, ever-improving Jordan Carlson on the Dynojet Graves Yamaha YZ FR6 occupies P4.
Yeah, Keith Feely, Dave Ruffley, Mick Train and Chris Quinn starting from that 2nd row of the grid. Mitch Levy from 9th position, Hayden Spinks from 10th and Callum Barker. They've got that motorcycle repaired and he'll start from last place on the grid. But watch out for a great start, which is what he's been doing all weekend.
9 laps away from finding out whether Callum Spriggs' return to the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship in the Supersport category has been worthwhile.
Well, on board with Mitch Levy. Look how many places he's already made up, Lance, as they make their way down in towards turn 1. He's certainly been the star of the show so far this weekend, along with Callum Spriggs, and I don't think it will be long before he's up there and battling for the lead. But at the moment, it is Jordan Carlson. Is this the first time this year, Lance, he's actually led a race? And he does that through the very important and very fast Dunlop Road Smart 3 corner and out onto the Iphone straight.
Heading down at breakneck speed, 250 kilometres an hour. Look at that. Is that Kyle Buckley getting up the inside and relegating everybody else back? So he's in second, Spriggs in third, Quinn in fourth. But it's all Jordan Carlson at this stage.
This is great for Jordan Carlson, who's been getting more and more confident with the motorcycle every round. This will do his confidence a great deal of good to try and get up there into the lead. And as they lead them now down into the 2 left-hand corners, you can see Callum Spriggs back on board the R6 for the first time this year, having a great weekend so far, sitting in third position. Mitch Levy is up to 5th place. Oh, nearly off the circuit there on the exit of the hip pocket workwear corners and out onto the Kawasaki straight.
A lot of Jordan Carlson's improvement can go down or get set for the setup of the bike itself. Welcoming a new mechanic into the team by the name of Greg. He comes from the Mitch Levy camp, in fact, and joins Jordan Carlson, and the mixture has certainly paid dividends so far this year.
Yeah, look at the lead that Jordan Carlson's got as they come down in towards shock treatment. I think he's giving the rest of the field a little bit of shock treatment at the moment. Kyle Buckley is up into second place, Callum Spriggs in third. And Kyle Buckley, as we said, Lance, has not been comfortable on the motorcycle all weekend. I know Kyle and his crew chief, Vaughan, have been working extremely hard to try and find something this weekend to make Kyle more competitive. And the way that he's riding early on in this race indicates that they could be on the right path.
Looking back from Mitch Levy as he gets up the inside of Sam Muldoon at the end of the Iphone Oils back straight into Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days turn 3. Everybody using the Kyle Buckley approach on the exit of that turn.
Yeah, all of them out into the exit road, or one of the circuit options here at Queensland Raceway. But down into the left-handed, this is still Mitch Levy trying to make his way forward. Sam Muldoon is not letting him get away either without a good hard fight. And the Muldoon Motorcycles Pro Works Kawasaki doing a great job to hang with our championship leader. Well, championship leader going into the first race. Now our second place rider in the championship, some 21 points behind Kyle Buckley.
Mitch Levy up to 4th already as we take an opportunity to look at a replay of the start on board the SA Kawasaki BC Performance ZX6R of Kyle Buckley heading down the Swann Insurance main straight and into shock treatment for the first time. Look at the way most of these bikes are bouncing around on the front wheels at the end of the Iphone Oils straight.
Yeah, I think that shows you two things, Lance, that the circuit is very, very bumpy on the entry into Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days turn 3. It also indicates how much confidence they've got with their suspension setup and the brakes to get down the inside. And on board with Kyle Buckley down into that corner. You can see him just go past Jordan Carlson. And how late did he have to get in there on the brakes? He runs wide. That's an indication of how late he was.
So it's Kawasaki versus Yamaha at the pointy end of the field, and not far behind them a gaggle of mixtures of riders and bikes as well, heading down the Kawasaki Motor Finance's internal straight towards hip pocket workwear and safety turns 4 and 5.
Yeah, through the two left-handers, Kyle Buckley leads now, and he's looking more comfortable on the bike. Jordan Carlson, I could look at the style of Jordan Carlson all day. He looks like he's absolutely flying now as they come down here. Callum Spriggs tries to go up the inside, but no. Jordan Carlson is very confident in that front end and gets into the corner with good corner entry speed. And up the inside of Callum Spriggs tries to go Sam Muldoon on bike number 70. Oh, this is shaping up to be the best race of the weekend, Lance.
So it's Buckley ahead at the moment, but not that far in front of a gaggle of riders who certainly want to topple him off that top position on the podium. On board currently with Callum Spriggs in third placing, doing a great job as he heads down through turn number 2 and for the run down the Iphone Oils back straight. Kyle Buckley leads at the moment, but look at Jordan Carlson back in second. Will he succumb to the pressure of Callum Spriggs? Tries to get up the inside, on board with Mitch Levy, just overtaking Sam Muldoon at the end of the Iphone Oils straight.
Well, you could hear Mitch Levy there going back through the gears on the run down in towards Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days corner. Gets good drive out of the corner, just starts to get away from Muldoon a fraction as Callum Spriggs closes right up onto the back of Jordan Carlson's immaculately presented Yamaha R6. Well, that's the one consistent that there has been every round this year, Lance, is the preparation of all of these motorcycles and the way Jordan Carlson's bike always looks $1 million.
Yes, he, his dad Mark, and of course his mum and the entire family, and now with Greg involved in the entire mechanical side of the team, it certainly lifts the game a little bit further.
Well, Mitch Levy's bike is certainly under no illusion as to where that one is on the track. The bright orange fluoro and the black is very, very easy to pick out. And as they make their way down the Swann Insurance Straight, Levy is trying to put a fair amount of pressure at the moment on the back of Callum Spriggs' Yamaha R6. Spriggs has been getting faster and faster every time he goes out. Hasn't ridden this motorcycle all year. Hasn't ridden on the control tyre that we're using this year either, Lance. A different control tyre to what he won the championship on. Was that Muldoon out of the seat as they came through turn number 2, the Dunlop Road Smart corner, and he has got right on the tail too. He's got Chris Quinn, a very, very experienced rider on the Holmes Extractive Resources R6.
Look at this Levy trying to get up the inside of Carlson, in turn around the outside. Trying there is Callum Spriggs, who looks over his right shoulder just to make sure that he gives everybody that racing room that's needed.
Well, Jordan Carlson, I'd say, is having his best race of the season so far, Lance. To be sitting here in second position, 5 laps into the 9-lap journey, is certainly the best performance that we've seen from the rider on bike number 45 this year. At his home circuit, he's looking very, very confident. A lot of family and friends out here this weekend to cheer him on as well. But here comes Callum Spriggs down the inside. Mitch Levy tries to go as well. Spriggs just gets up the inside. Callum Spriggs takes up the running in second position, runs a fraction wide, but there's not enough room on the inside for Carlson to come back.
That is one of the weakest areas of the circuit for Jordan Carlson. He gives too much room on the inside of Shark Leather's turn number 6, and maybe when he looks at a replay of this coverage, he'll find better line next time around here at Queensland Raceway.
You find in turn 3 though, a lot of the riders actually can do that and get away with it. Turn 6, maybe not so much, and you need to get good drive out of the both of those corners and onto the straight that follows. And as we blast on down the iPhone straight now, Callum Spriggs has got the ears pinned back and he's got his eyes set on the race leader at the moment, Kyle Buckley, who's opened up just a fractional lead over the battling Yamaha R6s of Spriggs, Levy and Jordan Carlson.
Well, Levy gets the upper hand of Carlson that time around. In turn, Quinn got the upper hand of the rider in front of him. Here's a replay now of looking at Kyle Buckley overtaking Jordan Carlson a couple of laps ago.
Well, you can see that's typical Kyle Buckley, isn't it, Lance? How loose he was into that corner, and that indicates that he's starting to get the feel back as Callum Spriggs just gets the better of Jordan Carlson. And here, as you said, Jordan Carlson hugs the inside, but he allowed Callum Spriggs already to get up the inside as we jump on board with Mitch Levy as he goes down the inside, relegating Jordan Carlson one further position.
Back to live action now as we head on to lap 7 of 9, and it is all about Kyle Buckley chasing down the lead of Callum Spriggs. Callum Spriggs in turn trying to get the upper hand of him, but look out for Mitch Levy. Uses all of the black stuff, bounces off the ripple strips through shock treatment, heading down to Dunlop Road Smart 3.
Yeah, he's taking a leaf out of Kyle Buckley's book. That's usually his trick, isn't it? He likes to use the ripple strips as berms as they blast on down the iPhone straight now. Mitch Levy he's got clear air in front of him as he tries to gather in these two that are about to engage in a bit of out-braking activity now as they go through Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Day. Spriggs all over the back of Kyle Buckley. Look at Kyle Buckley's line. I thought he was almost heading onto the Swann Insurance Straight there, Lance, directly from turn 3. He was that wide. Well,
Mitch Levy a little bit behind these front two, battling it out for the race lead, and that could work to his favour in the final lap and a half that we have here at the 3.12 kilometre layout.
I was going to say Callum Barker, look how far he's gone forward. Unfortunately, he's gone wide and into the gravel trap, but that was a great ride until that point.
Unfortunately, he will take no further part in this one. He is very upset with himself for making that minor mistake, but it can happen there in that section of the circuit through hip pocket workwear and safety turns 4 and 5. Here comes Mitch Levy in the meantime, heading down the Swann Insurance main straight through shock treatment.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kyle Buckley has just lost the race lead to Callum Spriggs and is now the Kawasaki meat in the Yamaha sandwich as the two Yamaha riders tried to get the one up on the Kawasaki rider down the back straight. Mitch Levy, a great recovery from so far back on the grid, as you said before, Lance. But look at him now trying to get down the inside of Kyle Buckley, and Buckley, has he gone back into the lead? He's got great track position over Callum Spriggs and just does it. Oh, how close are they?
How much respect is given to each of these riders by themselves, because that was extremely close indeed, and all Kyle Buckley could do was maintain his position on the inside. Callum Spriggs, he could have been nasty and leant on him, but he gave him the room that was required. Here's a replay now of Callum Barker just losing that front end tucked under him.
Yeah, you can see he was very, very fast through the two hip pocket corners, unfortunately a fraction too fast through turn 5. As you can see there, he just lost the front end and crashed out as our 3 leaders got away, and Muldoon had to take some evasive action.
He was very lucky not to have that bike bounce over the top of him there. By hanging on to it, it managed to push him wide. And here's a replay now of Kyle Buckley getting up the inside of Callum Spriggs. How close were they?
Well, and you could see how wide Kyle Buckley went, and Callum Spriggs was almost on the outside, and he was nearly pushed into the grass. But that's the line that Kyle Buckley takes every lap. It's not as if he did anything unusual. As they start the final lap now through Dunlop Road Smart 3 for the final time, it is still Buckley leading from Spriggs and Levy.
Here comes Callum Spriggs up the inside. Alternately on the outside, it looked like Mitch Levy was going to go around the outside of Buckley until he was forced wide by Callum Spriggs' outbraking manoeuvre up the inside in turn 3, Sydney Motorsport Park ride day.
Yeah, down the Kawasaki Motor Finance straight for the final time. Look at Spriggs all the way to the left-hand side of the circuit, not allowing any room up the inside. Mitch Levy, where did he come from, Lance? He was so far back, and he's just gone flying past Kyle Buckley like he almost forgot to use the brakes at all.
Like a shot out of a rifle. How did he stop that Yamaha up the inside of the Kawasaki? Here comes the BC Performance Kawasaki, SA Kawasaki ZX6R trying the outside run, the switchback on Mitch Levy, and that's worked to the advantage of Callum Spriggs.
Yeah, Callum Spriggs will take the win, it looks like, but Mitch Levy's going to take second position and get some points back on his championship rival. And as they come across the line, I think the next rider through was Chris Quinn on board the Holmes Extractive Resources R6. What a great ride from Callum Spriggs, and Mitch Levy, the recovery of recoveries.
All recoveries, it's going to go down in the history books as one of the best rides that we've seen in the 600s. Here's a replay of the late outbraking manoeuvre. This is the final lap, turn number 3. Up the inside goes Callum Spriggs. No harm, no foul. Now look for an even better outbraking manoeuvre from Mitch Levy. Up the inside in turn 4, hip pocket workwear and safety.
What was most impressive about that move was how far he came from and how he got the bike, stopped and turned and kept on the line to get drive out onto the Kawasaki straight for the final time. It's one of those ones, Lance, that if you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it was a knife edge between success and failure. But Callum Spriggs takes it out. Mitch Levy, Kyle Buckley, Chris Quinn. Jordan Carlson, a great effort in 5th place after leading for the majority of the race. Hayden Spinks, Sam Muldoon, Keith Feely, David Ruffley and Mick Train rounds up the top 10.
Yeah, that's right. It was a bit of a challenge there. Jordan got off to a good start, and then Kyle managed to get around him, and it took me a little while. Yeah, Jordan was riding pretty good. He's good on the brakes, but I managed to get around Jordan and finally caught up to Kyle. And it was a good battle between me and Kyle, so it was good fun. And then I see Mitch come up there towards the end there, and I thought he'd be in the mix, but it was an awesome to come down to the last lap, and I'm happy to get a win when it's like that. It makes it feel much better.
We knew we had to make up a lot of points there, and starting from a bit behind, had to push early on and just keep my head level and not push too hard in the early laps and make any massive mistakes. So I'm happy with the result, and the Landbridge Racing team and the Yamaha. It's all working really well at the moment. So hopefully we can push on in race 3.
That was really fun, that one actually. Heap of battling and that's like the real racing has come back. So that was awesome. I think I just didn't play that last lap very smart. I had a fair bit of pace, but I just I ran a wide line and the boys got under me. So good work to them, and I really look forward to the next one.
Well, whilst Callum Spriggs looks good for making it 3 from 3, will Kyle Buckley steal his thunder, or will it be the hard-charging Mitch Levy with a point to prove? Find out on the other side of this break. The third and final race in the Supersport Championship of Round 5 of the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship here at Queensland Raceway should be sensational if the previous two are anything to go by, Phil Harlan.
Well, the championship this year, Lance, has been so interesting. It's been a two-man battle essentially at the front, with the rest of the riders battling it out for minor positions. This weekend, add in the wild cards of Callum Spriggs and Chris Quinn, and that has set the scene for an unbelievably exciting final race of the day. And, there's probably 4 or 5 riders that could realistically win this race.
Certainly could do. It could be Callum Spriggs, Mitch Levy, Kyle Buckley or Chris Quinn who occupy the front row of the grid.
Jordan Carlson, Hayden Spinks and Sam Muldoon certainly have been very, very fast all weekend. All the way back to Callum Barker, who has proven speed, but unfortunately will start from a little bit further back on the grid than he would have liked.
Yes, unfortunately, falling foul of conditions in the hip pocket workwear and safety turns 4 and 5, about 3/4 of the way through race number 2. But we're underway with the third encounter. Carlson gets a good run up the inside, but none better than Quinn again, who takes the pole position.
Yeah, Chris Quinn got a great start there and was also very aggressive down in towards turn 1 for the first time. He's got the local man, Callum Spriggs, returning to the championship and having his first ride on the control tyres for 2016 here this weekend. Right behind him, do you think we're on board with Kyle Buckley, Lance?
I think there's no doubt about it. Great graphics there on the backside of Kyle Buckley, reminiscent of the Doctor himself.
Oh, you can see from the onboard there, Mitch Levy around the outside. There was no room on the left-hand side of the circuit there to go into the lead, but Mitch Levy found some and now leads them down the Kawasaki Motor Finance straight. That's a pretty fair indication of what Mitch Levy is intending to do in this third and final race.
If you've only just joined our coverage, unfortunately mechanical dramas meant that Mitch Levy looked from the infield in race number 1, came from the back row of the grid to finish on the podium in race number 2, and now leads this third and final encounter.
Yeah, I spoke to Keith, Mitch Levy's dad. The battery had fried itself, and that was the problem why he couldn't get the bike started again. New battery on board the Levy Motorsport machine, and everything's been running swimmingly ever since. And Sam Muldoon now up into second place as well. He's still racing with that injured hand that happened here the last time we were here at Queensland Raceway in July, Lance. And I tell you what, it's been a brave performance from him to come back at the last round at Sydney Motorsport Park and continue, even with limited strength in that hand, here this weekend.
Evidence there as Chris Quinn forced his way up the inside. They continue to swap leather brands as they head out of the Dunlop Road Smart 3 turn 3 for the run, turn 2 I should say, for the run down this iPone Oils main straight. The battle for third place, 3 wide as they head into turn 3, Sydney Motorsport Park ride days.
Yeah, something was going to have to give there, and Kyle Buckley just sort of let Callum Spriggs pass. But he's still not going to give up the fight as he tucks in behind the Yamaha R6 rider down the Kawasaki Motor Finance straight. You can just see him off to the left-hand side of the screen there, sitting on the right-hand side of Callum Spriggs' machine, down through the left-handers, the very tricky hip pocket workwear section of the circuit. Quinn there, Jordan Carlson putting in another great ride as well. Is that Callum Barker right behind?
It certainly was, as we take the opportunity to have another look at the start on board the all-site concrete cutting Yamaha YZF R6. Firstly, that was Callum Spriggs, now on board, I think, with Kyle Buckley's SA Kawasaki BC Performance Kawasaki ZX6R.
Yeah, you can see Muldoon just on the inside there as well, had a pretty good line. And look on bike number 47 there, Callum Barker from the back of the grid. He was up into about 5th or 6th position as they went through turn 1 for the first time. Back on board now with Kyle Buckley. And you can see there, Callum Spriggs trying to go down the outside, and there he goes around the outside and into turn 3. That's a big move early on from Callum Spriggs.
A great vision there of the animation of the body language of Kyle Buckley. He's all over the back of that bike and certainly controls it in an unusual style.
Yeah, he's very loose, and when he's loose, he's actually comfortable on the motorcycle. I'd be heading off to the laundry, but Kyle Buckley, you can see there as he gets the run down into the corner, great corner entry speed. And there's been so many overtaking manoeuvres down into turn 3 this weekend, and the Supersport class, well, it's provided a lot of very sensational racing, and it's a great part of the circuit as they all get in there and trying to go one up on each other.
And so too is this area at the end of the Kawasaki Motor Finance's internal back straight, heading into hip pocket workwear and safety. We saw earlier in race number 2 the outbraking manoeuvre of Mitch Levy, our race leader, and likewise down here at the end of Kawasaki Motorcycle Straight, heading into Shark Leathers, another popular overtaking area.
Yeah, we've got 6 riders, and probably even 7 if you consider young Hayden Spinks on board the 66 machine, that are now in this group that is battling for second position as they come down to complete 4 laps of the 9-lap journey across the start-finish line. Well, Kyle Buckley is putting in a good ride here, but he's got Sam Muldoon right behind him, but the gap to Mitch Levy is starting to get away from him a little bit. What he needs to do now, Lance, is because he took good points in race 1 and race 2, keep the consistency going, because Mitch Levy is trying to get back as many points as he possibly can for the championship heading into the final round at Sydney Motorsport Park, where double points are on offer.
It's certainly an important point that you make, Phil Harlem, because not only is that up for grabs, but it is a twilight meeting as well at Sydney Motorsport Park on the Friday and the Saturday, and that throws an extra challenge at the riders.
Yeah, it certainly does, because they've had one meeting in the twilight at the beginning of the year, Lance, but they've been racing in the day, and the twilight is a whole different kettle of fish. You've got the sun to deal with, you've got maybe different track temperatures. And it's certainly going to be an exciting finale, as we saw last year, where this man, Callum Spriggs, on board bike number 50, took the championship by the barest of margins. And at the moment, he's holding on to third place by the barest of margins over Sam Muldoon and Chris Quinn, who's closing in very quickly. Callum Barker has just got the better of Jordan Carlson in an entertaining battle right behind this group of 4 riders.
But it's all about Mitch Levy on the Levy Racing ATR YRD Warm and Safe Australia YZF R6 at this stage. Here's another look at how dominant Kyle Buckley is at the end of the iPone Oils back straight.
Yeah, and how determined Sam Muldoon is to not give up. And you can see that Jordan Carlson was almost off the circuit as he made his way through Dunlop Road Smart 3 and did pretty well to keep the bike on track.
Back to the live action now. This is the battle for second place. Buckley, Spriggs, Muldoon, Quinn and Barker are the 5 riders engaged in that.
Well, Kyle Buckley did his fastest lap of the race on lap number 4, Lance, to try and maintain this lead over Callum Spriggs. And they're just starting to get away a fraction from the Muldoon-Quinn battle at the moment. There comes Callum Barker and Jordan Carlson, the next riders through. But Levy has got a pretty handy lead by Supersport margins here at the moment. And Kyle Buckley, he's going to have to keep his head down because Callum Spriggs, we've seen him at the end of all of the races so far this weekend, Lance, has been incredibly strong on board the all-site concrete cutting Yamaha R6.
As our race leader heads down, big brakes, braking from 5th gear, 230 kilometres an hour into 3rd as he enters the final turn, Shark Leathers turn 6.
Out onto the start-finish straight again. Blasts on down the Swann Insurance straight. There's Kyle Buckley with Callum Spriggs right behind him. And Muldoon just starting to get away from Quinn a fraction as they start the 6th lap. 2/3 race distance. Mitch Levy, a handy lead. This is exactly what he came into this race hoping to do, Lance, and not have anyone right behind him. We've seen how ferocious some of the battles have been this weekend. And while these two battle, Mitch Levy is free to just take the lines he wants in clear air and hopefully clear away from the rest of the field.
There's no doubt that it's all Mitch Levy's to lose from here as these two battle it out, as you said. Kyle Buckley just momentarily got the upper hand over Callum Spriggs and then a good gap back to Muldoon and Quinn battling it out for 4th and 5th placing.
Well, the battle between Kyle Buckley and Callum Spriggs has been going on for a few laps now. We said that Kyle Buckley set his fastest lap of the race on lap 4. Well, Callum Spriggs has responded on lap 5 with his fastest lap of the race so far as well. That's why he's got right up onto the back of the SA Motorcycles BC Performance Kawasaki ZX6 as they come down the Kawasaki straight now to complete the 6th of 9 laps in this race. Muldoon still holding off the hard-charging Chris Quinn with Callum Barker. Finally getting a good race here and able to complete a whole lot of laps on board the Suzuki GSX R600.
And haven't the SA Kawasaki BC Performance team done a fantastic job to repair the damage done by Kyle Buckley in yesterday's Dunlop Road Smart 3 AFX series?
Yeah, let's just say that the team had to work fairly hard overnight. And while we're talking about the SA Motorcycles BC Performance team, a big shout out to Kyle Buckley's teammate Ryan Masri, who was very badly injured in a testing incident here at Queensland Raceway. Get better soon, Ryan, and we'll hopefully see you back on track very soon.
Looking forward to that one, as we do with this battle in the final couple of laps. It is Kyle Buckley just holding off the challenges of Callum Spriggs, making a return on his favourite Yamaha bike to the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship.
Some great slow motion footage here of the very tightly packed 600 Supersport field. Great variety too, Lance. We've got Kawasaki, we've got Yamaha, we've got Suzuki, and all we need now is a Honda in there, but we've also got a couple of generations of Yamaha R6 as well.
Look at the lean angle of these bikes. It defies gravity, doesn't it? And you can even see the way that some of the fairings are rattling in the wind and breeze.
Well, some of the things that have been most impressive about this season is the corner entries, the way that Kyle Buckley, Mitch Levy, Callum Spriggs can get the bike so sideways. And the Dunlop control tyres have been doing a great job from very, very cold temperatures mid-winter to, quite balmy temperatures here with track temperature up around the 55 degree mark several times over this weekend.
Heading down towards the Dunlop's Road Smart 3 Turn 2 is Callum Spriggs, ready for the run down the iPone Oils back straight for the second last time. He is hotly pursuing Kyle Buckley on his Kawasaki just ahead of him. Tries to poke his nose up the inside, but very strong under brakes is Kyle Buckley.
Yeah, there was nothing between them as they came down the iPone straight on that occasion, as Chris Quinn looks like he's just managing to hold off Sam Muldoon and Callum Barker on the 47 machine, the Suzuki GSX R600. And Muldoon, I was going to say, is that Muldoon? But no, it's the battle between Kyle Buckley and Callum Spriggs. There is literally nothing between them once again through hip pocket corner. Callum Spriggs, Lance, looks to be setting up for an overtaking manoeuvre down into Shark Leathers. He's going to try and put one over on our championship leader. Kyle Buckley, no, not quite. Kyle Buckley moved to the inside of the circuit there, and Spriggs had nowhere to go.
Well, what Mitch Levy is hoping for is, in fact, that Callum Spriggs, who was victorious in not only in race 1, also in race number 2, can get the better of Kyle Buckley and take some valuable championship points away from him, and therefore decrease the lead between Kyle Buckley and Mitch Levy heading into the final round.
Nearly 2.5 second lead for Mitch Levy, Lance. He's just put in his fastest lap of the race as well, and it is the fastest lap of the race. And Mitch Levy absolutely flying at the front, certainly not going to hang around and let these guys try and take that race lead.
Kyle Buckley swooped to the right-hand side, covering the tracks of Callum Spriggs, trying to get up the inside of him. Very, very mature manoeuvre there from the Kawasaki-mounted rider, blocking the Yamaha of Callum Spriggs.
Yeah, you can see Callum Spriggs was able to take a much tighter line there through Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days Turn 3, but Kyle Buckley very deep on the brakes through the hip pocket workwear corners now. Spriggs will try and get the run through the second half of this double corner and out onto the Kawasaki Motor Finance, or the Kawasaki straight, and try and put a move on coming down into Shark Leathers.
But it's all Mitch Levy. He's done the best that he possibly can. He's going to take another race victory in the 2016 Championship for the Supersports as part and parcel of the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship, and Kyle Buckley gets the upper hand on Callum Spriggs for second place.
Yeah, there was nothing between them as they came across the line, Lance. Chris Quinn is the next one through. A great ride from him, and great to see him back in the championship. But Callum Spriggs, what a wild card performance this weekend. 2 wins and a third place. A great round.
It will certainly mean that he takes out the round here at the Queensland Raceway and will have his hands on one of those valued 7 Friday watches.
I think he said, I'm going to put it on the opposite hand. Yes, this one here. And as the riders congratulate each other on the final slowdown lap, a couple of Queenslanders there having a bit of a congratulatory handshake as they make their way down the Iphone straight. But Mitch Levy taking the final win from Kyle Buckley, Callum Spriggs, Chris Quinn, Callum Barker, Sam Muldoon, Jordan Carlson, Hayden Spinks, Dave Ruffley and Mick Train rounds out the top 10.
Can't thank the team enough. They've given me good gear all year, and it, it was a bit disappointing not to start that race, but it happens. It was no one's fault, and just one of those things. So yeah, we just did the best we could for the rest of the day, and move forward into Eastern Creek.
That race was heaps of fun. Mitch got a gap early on, and I think it's hard to pull in a gap on someone who's already going the same speed as you. So it's really fun. Looking forward to the next one. Hopefully we can get in a bit of time down there and try and improve on how we have been. So
yeah, that's for sure. I had a decent start, but I got 8 and up at turn 3, and everyone got around me, and then I made it a little bit hard for myself, but I managed to get through some of the guys, and then me and Kyle had a good battle going on, so it was good fun, and then Mitch managed to get away at the end there, but I think I got the overall win, so it's pretty cool to get it back on the R6, so it's a good weekend, I reckon.
Well, what will the mechanical dramas have as far as championship points ramification is concerned? 367 to 351 now. Kyle Buckley leads Mitch Levy. Jordan Carlson consolidating third position as we head to Sydney Motorsport Park for the final round with double points. It's been an entertaining day to say the very least, Phil Harlan, and here is our podium presentation.
Yeah, the trophies are being awarded now to Sam Muldoon and Kyle Buckley for third and second position. Our round winner, Callum Spriggs, not only gets that very impressive trophy, Lance, but he'll also receive a very impressive 7 Friday watch from series promoter Terry O'Neill.
Worth over $1,500, he will undoubtedly wear that watch with pride and in style. Well, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to celebrate victory with the champagne spray, obligatory at any motorsport event, especially here in the heat of the Queensland Raceway layout. The 7 Friday watch is just one of plenty of awards up for grabs, as is the prize for the Stars of Tomorrow race, who will ride away with the Cyclesport Thornley push bike worth over $2,500. Don't go too far away, you'll find out on the other side of this break. The Cyclesport Sydney Stars of Tomorrow race for C and D grade riders has become a popular addition to the Australasian Superbike Championship program. The standalone race allows newcomers and up-and-coming riders the opportunity to contest in their own race on a national level. For local Pro Twins rider Michael O'Keefe, it's the perfect opportunity to stretch the legs of his Aprilia RSV4 around the paperclip.
I did 4 races last year and loved every minute of it. So I've only raced 2 times this year, so it's a little bit difficult getting up to speed on the weekends, but yeah, I love every minute, so it's good fun. You want to race the best guys, but I'll take any day I can get on the track, and the way this whole series is run, the way Gloria and Terry put the series up is just awesome. You send Gloria an email and 2 minutes later you get a reply, so you always want to help people that are in for the sport for the good reasons, and yeah, it's a great series to do, and yeah, I love doing it. I had a crack at athletics. I raced full time for a little over a decade, so it was an interesting time. I loved it. I think I just liked hurting myself, which is a little bit weird, but yeah, it was good fun, and when I stopped doing that I kind of needed something to fill a bit of a gap, and I always wanted to ride bikes, and pretty quickly got on the track, and that definitely fills the gap. It's it's an awesome thing to do.
Riders are getting set now for a 7-lap Stars of Tomorrow race for the C and D grade riders in any category of racing here at Queensland Raceway, and the prize that's up for grabs is $2,500 worth of fantastic push bike.
Well, the first round this prize was introduced at, Lance, at the last round at Sydney Motorsport Park. Dominic De Leon had to play second fiddle to the Sydney Motorsport Park expert Carlos Rendon. There is the bike that's available, and I can tell you now that Dominic De Leon thinks that it's an omen that it has got red on it, and so does his motorcycle.
He has a 3-point lead in the series over Kieran Hurrell, Stuart Fripp, Dane Purcell and Carlos Rendon, still in with a mathematical chance of taking out the series. But who will it be that rides away with that bike? Dominic De Leon, our pole sitter, is certainly hoping for that.
Stuart Fripp's looked very impressive all weekend, as has Ryan Yanko. Those three will start from the top 3 positions on the front row of the grid, and back in the field, Dan Thomas on board his little Yamaha FZ6 against the big heavy hitters 1000cc machines has been doing a great job all weekend.
In the starter's hands now, 7 laps away. A very even start for everybody there by the looks of it, and a great battle between Ryan Yanko and, of course, Dominic De Leon starts in turn number 1.
Well, Ryan Yanko, who has shown very impressive corner speed all weekend, gets the lead going down in towards this shock treatment corner. And as they come through Dunlop Road, Smart 3 corner, Dominic De Leon now, Stuart Fripp right on his tail. Kieran Hurrell has also got his hands full with the rider on bike number 33, Hamish McMurray, right behind.
And behind them, Dwayne Town on machine number 14, the high side leather repair Suzuki GSXR 750, starting off very strongly also.
Well, you can see there Ryan Yanko in very impressive corner speed on board the CBR, got in there just fractionally behind Dominic De Leon on board bike number 63, but was able to take a much tighter line and led them out onto the Kawasaki Motor Finance straight. But look at the awesome straight line speed of the RSV4 Aprilia of Michael O'Keefe, the Gold Coast lifeguard.
But up front, Dominic De Leon and Stuart Fripp are still continuing the battle with Ryan Yanko. But Dominic De Leon, he's made every point a winner at this stage. Only lap 1 of 7, and he's got about a 7 bike length lead over this battle for second.
Yeah, Stuart Fripp, very tight line there on board the Car Brothers Motorsport Yamaha R1. Stuart Fripp, of course, had a 10-year layoff, Lance, before coming back to racing this year. He's had some good performances, and as we saw in that championship point score, is in a strong position heading into this penultimate round of the championship at Queensland Raceway. Would love to take home a $2,500 motorbike from Cyclesport Thornley.
And this Stars of Tomorrow category has been put together by promoter Terry O'Neill to give these guys the opportunity of not only showcasing their talent, but also riding away with a great prize at the end of the event.
Yeah, and top marks too to Graham Wilshaw, a former competitor in the series who runs Cyclesport Thornley, for putting up that unbelievable prize. And the desperation of some of these riders to take home that mountain bike at the end of the weekend is overwhelming.
Having a look on board Michael O'Keefe's Aprilia RSV4 there at the start, he didn't get the best of starts, but unlike those in front, Ryan Yanko ended up with the whole shot momentarily, and hotly being pursued there by key contender in the series, Dominic De Leon.
Yeah, who went past on the run down into Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days corner. He got in here very, very deep, ran a fraction wide. Look at the tight line of Ryan Yanko on board the yellow machine bike number 82. He was able to fractionally get back into the lead before Dominic De Leon once again regained the running at the front of the field.
The minor placings are certainly a place where you don't want to be sometimes because the competition is so close. There's plenty of them trying out very hard.
Yes, very, very hectic back in the mid-pack. Michael O'Keefe, as we said, Gold Coast lifeguard, former professional athlete, Lance, and he certainly won't be lacking for fitness here this weekend, and he's got to try and manhandle that big Aprilia RSV4, as does Dan Thomas there on board bike number 52, putting in a great performance on board the little Yamaha FZ6, having a great battle there with Dave Ruffley on board bike number 32, the Yamaha YZF R6, a much more track-focused piece of equipment to be racing here at Queensland Raceway.
In the meantime, our race leader heading down through turn 6, Shark Leathers, getting the drive out of there and for the run down the Swann Insurance main straight to complete lap 3 of 7. Almost halfway through this one, Phil.
Well, Stuart Fripp's closed down onto the back of Dominic De Leon, courtesy of a very fast lap, a 1:12.1 for Stuart Fripp. But look at the determination, Lance, as the back end steps out and the man from Wollongong starts to try and manhandle the big Yamaha YZF R1 and reel in the ZX10 of Dominic De Leon. And also coming up from behind is the first of our Honda CBRs in the hands of Ryan Yanko.
On board here with Michael O'Keefe, we've got some vision that looks like of Ash DeBacker on the BC Performance JPM Crane Hire Peninsula Conveyancing Kawasaki ZX10R, just taking a little road trip onto the gravel.
Yeah, almost a speedway line there. She's got it back on track, which is good, and there she is on bike number 76, just getting overtaken by Dan Thomas, who I think that Lance is almost ripping the right bar off the Yamaha FZ6, the LTR machine, but it's still Dominic De Leon with bike number 63 that leads Stuart Fripp on board bike number 69 in the battle for the $2,500 plus mountain bike from Cyclesport Thornlea.
And doesn't the Carr Brothers motorcycle mounted Yamaha YZF R1 Stuart Fripp look determined? He wants to get his leg over and onto the pedals of that fantastic push bike and certainly take it away from Dominic De Leon.
Well, if Dominic De Leon thought that it was going to be easy this weekend because Dane Purcell, the Queensland Raceway expert, has had some bike troubles and unable to compete in this race, he would be wrong. Michael O'Keefe is also having a great battle further back in the field there. As you can see, someone running wide in front of him. Is that Dan Thomas? Well, we know he's a pretty handy motocross rider. He was trying to bring it into the Stars of Tomorrow there, running wide on the exit of turn 5, as Ash DeBacker, a replay of her running off in turn 1. Not the place you want to be heading into the gravel.
And doing a good job to get it back on nice and safely. In the meantime, back to live action, the 5th of 7 laps here of the 3.12 kilometre 6-turn layout known as the Queensland Raceway, heading down the Kawasaki motorcycle straight into the 6th and final Shark Leathers turn, and it is Stuart Fripp trying very hard to get his hands onto that push bike that Dominic De Leon has one hand on at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see the battle of the 1000cc versus 600cc as Ash DeBacker tries to get the better of young Dan Thomas on the Yamaha FZ6, who's been doing a great job this weekend in the naked bike category as well as the Stars of Tomorrow.
Stuart Fripp in the meantime trying as hard as he possibly can this battle for the minor placings. Look at Dan Thomas, backside down, head down, throttle wide open. Ash DeBacker up the inside at the end of Kawasaki, at least she tried to anyway, but Dan was up to the task to cover the line on the inside.
Yeah, Dan Thomas, remember Lance, he had his first race meeting ever at the first round of the championship as he once again tries to reef the right hand grip off of the LTR machine, and tell you what, he's doing a great job here on board that little FZ6. It's got nowhere near the top speed as he goes off onto the dirt. What's that, his second or third off-track excursion now for Dan Thomas? Oh, foot down, he thinks he's at the Speedway.
He chucked an Ash DeBacker in the Ash DeBacker territory. She did it a couple of laps ago in that area. Dan is having more off-track excursions here, but I bet you he's still got a big smile on his dial.
I reckon she might have a smile on her face as well, getting one back on Dan Thomas here as we see a replay. He just went into turn 1 a fraction too hot, almost required a set of knobbies on board the machine, and I tell you what, Pete Ward and his dad Dave and his teammate Paul Byrne, they'll be giving him some when he gets back to the pits after this one.
In the meantime, our race leader on the final lap, will he be the one that rides away on that $2,500 push bike presented by Cyclesport Thornlea at the end of this lap? Dominic De Leon is the man I'm talking about. The At1 Pro Racing Suits Kawasaki ZX10R mounted rider. He's under an immense amount of pressure though from the Yamaha mounted Stuart Fripp on his Carr Brothers motorcycles entry.
Did you see how early he was on the gas in turn 2 and how late he was on the brakes in turn 3? The front end was pogoing up and down all over the place as Dominic De Leon tries everything in his bag of tricks to try and hold out the hard charging Stuart Fripp. A great battle here between these two, but I think Dominic Leon's just got enough of a buffer now as they break late and deep in towards Shark Leather's turn 6 for the final time.
Dominic De Leon, he wants to ride away a happy chappy on board that push bike, and it looks like he's going to do it. He's showed nothing but determination and desire all weekend long, and it's paid dividends for him as he takes victory ahead of Stuart Fripp. Ryan Yanko will finish a very lonely third, Kieran Hurrell in fourth, Hamish McMurray, Dwayne Town, Matt Edwards, Michael O'Keefe, Ashley DeBacker, Mick Train and Dan Thomas rounds up the field.
Thank you so much, Cyclesport Sydney. It is amazing to win a race, you know what I mean? Although it wasn't easy, so I guess winning it make it not being easy makes it even more exciting. But I just want to say thanks to all my sponsors and my team for doing such a quick turnaround, because I nearly didn't make it out there just now due to a little fit in a back wheel issue. But yeah, we made it, and I'll be going mountain biking very soon.
It's probably been my best ride of the weekend so far, and we've already improved on what we did last time here. But no, the Carr Brothers Motorcycles R1 is going fantastic. Dominic got the jump at the start there. I had to sort of chase him down. That was a great battle from there on. Just couldn't quite get past him, so congratulations to Dominic and well done.
Yeah, mate, yeah, had a bit of a shocker yesterday. Didn't finish 4 races out of the 2 classes, and to finish 3rd this morning in the Stars of Tomorrow, it's a real good feeling.
It all looks good in the championship points for Dominic De Leon. He has a marginal 10-point advantage over Kieran Hurrell, with Stuart Fripp in 3rd and Dane Purcell rounding up the top 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a great battle at the final round with only that 10-point difference, but Dominic De Leon takes the trophy, and most importantly, he takes the very impressive mountain bike from Cyclesport Thornlea. And I tell you what, Dominic can't wait to get out in the bush and put that one through its paces. He was so disappointed to have to play second fiddle to Carlos Rendon at the last round, and now he's got one in his own shed.
And to the victor also goes the spoils. Well, Phil Harlem, this penultimate round of the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship has certainly been entertaining.
And it set us up for a great final round the week before Christmas at Sydney Motorsport Park in the Friday-Saturday twilight meeting lands. It can't come soon enough.
On behalf of Phil Harlem and the entire team here at Queensland Raceway, we thank you for your company and look forward to it again at Sydney Motorsport Park.